2.3 million.
2.3 million shares, valued at 3 billion plus Ghana cedis on the Ghana Stock Exchange. As of yesterday, they were doing 1 cedi 30 pesos, now doing 1 cedi 32 pesos. We also saw the likes of Enterprise Ghana Limited. They sold some 14,000 shares, valued at 37,000 Ghana cedis. And then this is
GCB 216.
Sure, but before then we also saw the likes of Bensu oil palm plantation. They've been phenomenal.
This last month and this month.
This particular year, for that matter, they sold some 3,236 shares, valued at 21,519.40 pesos on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And so it's interesting times on the Ghana Stock Exchange. I think that, I mean, if this is anything to go by, if you don't have any investment on the Ghana Stock Exchange, you should be considering investing
going there
in the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Investment.
Maybe, from next year.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Great. So that was Maurice Ogwete giving us analysis of the performance of the equities for today. So now we're going for a short break. When we come back, we're going to pick a soundbite from the GUTA. We'll pick ICU, and then we'll pick KPMG as to what they're expecting from the budget on Wednesday. KPMG, they've said their thought about what government should do to be able to generate the needed revenue, and which areas that if monies are borrowed, where they should invest these monies to be able to pay back their debt. We can pick that soundbite from KPMG now.
At the end of the day, when you are borrowed and then invested in the economy, you are supposed to monitor, participants and make sure that we can generate the needed revenues to service these. Okay, but it's been the rigor with which we have done that continues to increase our debt profile, and therefore we seem to have all these plans designed well on paper. But how do we ensure that we close the loopholes? We are going to be able to achieve the right balance. It's making sure that the monies that we borrow goes to the most productive sectors of the economy. The expected effect is to be able to mobilize taxes and other revenues from these sectors in order to be able to put it back to these debt services. But I don't think we are doing very well with that. And that is where the conundrum lies. And if that is going to happen, it depends on how efficiently and effectively that the Ghana Revenue Authority itself is able to look at the loopholes within its own revenue mobilization systems to close them so that we can realize the benefits from these borrowings.
So that was KPMG sharing their thoughts about what should be done in terms of the upcoming budget. The ICU is also saying that, look here, government must invest in certain sectors of the economy to be able to engender growth and create more jobs for the youth out there.
We are referring to a situation where government will target some of these giant institutions that can create more jobs. They are spread across the length and breadth of this country, and if they are given the right, conditions, the right tools and accoutrements, and with some support from government, we believe that they can increase job opportunities in this country for the economy to move on its rightful scale. Right. Yeah.
That was ICU's General Secretary, the person of Amesa Morgan Ayewuni. Now, GUTA is out there advocating that government must stick to the 2019 reliefs that was given to GUTA in terms of the benchmark values that was reduced to 50%, because there are stories out there that government is about to schedule some reliefs that were given to the trading community. Let's pick that one right now.
If the government succumbs to this treacherous and diabolic request of the ADI, who are trying to lobby against this most acceptable fraction the distribution sector of the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the irony, hypocrisy, and absurdity here is that while the AGI is calling for the abolishment of the 50% reduction of the benchmark value policy for the trading community, they are, on the other hand, trying, crying, and pleading with the government to maintain the same 50% benchmark value reduction for their imports. Members of the press, you can clearly see the double standards here. In effect, what the AGI is telling the government is that their goods are very expensive as compared to that of their competitors in the other parts of the world. And that the government should surcharge the people of Ghana with high import duties to bridge their extortionist prices, which have come about as a result of their own inefficiency.
So that was the president of Ghana Union of Traders Association, Mr. Joseph Obin, saying that government should stick to the benchmark value that was reduced by 50% in 2019. We have on the line Mr. Seta Kwadwo of AGI to react and to share his thoughts with us about this call by the AGI. Mr. Kwadwo, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, thank you for having me. I'm listening.
All right, Seth, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Great. Now, the Gupta is more or less alleging that you are behind the move, the move by government to take away the benchmark values on some commodities, and that will lead to hike in prices of some commodities in the market. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Yes. Gupta is alleging that you are behind the purported move by government to remove the 50% benchmark values on some commodities in the coming budget.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and your listeners. Position very clear right from the time the benchmark value reduction was announced, because we foresaw what was going to happen. We foresaw that it was going to make imports cheaper and then make local companies or manufacturing less competitive. So we have been advocating against this policy, and it's not ethical. So if we are behind it, yes, it's true we are behind it, because we have noticed that the impact of this benchmark value introduction has been very negative for industry. Here we are talking about job creation. I'm surprised at the way Gupta members are talking. They don't seem to get the issues right. We are talking about growing our manufacturing sector so we can also export to other countries. What the benchmark value did was that it reduced the cost of import. And once you do so, you make imports less expensive, and therefore local companies are put at a disadvantaged position. So we said this was good. However, government didn't listen to us at the time, so we accepted it. But we monitored the development. And what is happening? A lot of our companies whose goods are similar to those that are imported under the benchmark value reduction are experiencing decline in volumes of business. They are experiencing decline in number of employees. They are reducing investments in all these areas, and it's affecting businesses. Government itself is losing a lot of revenue as a result. When the benchmark value was introduced, the expectation was that prices was going to come down. Did the price come down? It didn't come down. So why should we have a policy that supports import rather than local manufacturing?
May I find out from you whether you were able to conduct any survey or scientific study to find out whether prices came down or not?
You can also check. Did you see any price coming down? Our studies and our information clearly indicate that price really didn't come down after the introduction of the benchmark value. But that's not the key thing. The key point is that government has an industrialization agenda to promote local industries. That's why we are doing one district, one factory. We are doing planting for food and jobs. We are trying to link industry to agriculture so that we grow what we eat, produce it here, and create jobs for our company. When a typical importer brings goods, how many people does he employ? The fact is that we are talking about traders, but it's not the traders that are being attacked here. Absolutely no. The traders in the market, they buy goods at a price and then sell at a price. Now, when they have money, they will sell, whether it's made in Ghana or not. So those who have benefited or benefiting from the benchmark value reduction, it's a few importers, not the general traders. The traders are also our people. These are the products that are locally manufactured. So the idea that local industries are behind it, yes, of course, there's nothing wrong with being behind it because our industries are collapsed as a result of the introduction of the benchmark values. Listen, the benchmark value tariff, the tariff levels of ECOWAS are clearly defined, and it's for all ECOWAS countries. Ghana became an exception by reducing our tariff levels, thinking that it will inure to our benefit in terms of tax revenue and in terms of promoting business. That's not what has happened. Talk to the GRA. They will tell you they are losing hundreds of millions every month as a result of the introduction of the benchmark values. Are we promoting development, or we are promoting the interest of a few people who are cashing in on this? So if government has seen the wisdom to review it, in any case, let me mention it. Government didn't say there's a total withdrawal of the policy, and that hasn't been the AGI position also. What we have said is that let's be selective. Let's target products that we have local capacity to produce. For those ones, there's no point reducing the benchmark value. But for those that we are not producing in the country, reduce it to whatever level that government wants. So there is not a total withdrawal of the policy. It's just selective products that we have local capacity to produce. And for those ones, we think that the value should be reduced. The benchmark value should be reviewed. And that is our position, and we are not hiding from it.
Great. But have you been able to engage GUTA members as AGI to think through these issues? Because there seems to be some level of misunderstanding from the quarters of our GUTA about what you are proposing.
I think that is the unfortunate part. We've had some engagement. We've discussed. I've been on platforms with Mr. Bin and all that. But what we notice is that it's like a mindset. They think that once GUTA speaks, everybody must listen. And I don't think that's how we should develop a country, because they can wear red arms and speak big and loud and all that. Everything should go that way. It shouldn't be so. We have engaged. But they should understand the objective of it is the development of the country. If indeed the benchmark value reduction is in place, and we think that it's making manufacturing more attractive, what we expect is that our GUTA friends will also go into manufacturing and take advantage of it. At the end of the day, we create jobs for the country. We can't become an import-driven country where everything, as we explained now, go to most of our shops. Most of our shops are inundated with imported products. And I don't think that's how we want to develop this country. Every day we are crying of jobs. How are we going to create the jobs if we are creating local industries? Indeed, since the benchmark for the past 2 years that it was introduced, one of our rice mill companies, at some point, we're catching up with the local demand for rice. And industries were expanding to create opportunity. Today, since February this year, one of the big rice mills companies, which is taking from the north and buying the paddy rice from the north, they stop production. What is going to happen? They are exporting the paddy rice in a raw form to other countries. Is that what we want? And then we go and import, and then we reduce the benchmark values, and we think we're doing something great to the country. I don't think so. So please, let's understand the context. AGI is not asking for total withdrawal of the policy. We are saying that for products that we have capacity to produce, even if it's not 100% capacity, we must grow the capacity. But you can never grow the capacity when you are denying the industries of a good market share. It's not a new introduction of tax. That's something we must also appreciate and understand. These values were there, for so many decades. It's always been so. It is just 2 years ago that government wanted to experiment it. The experimentation has shown that it didn't increase revenue. It didn't bring in any additional cargo to our port. Rather, it has gone to weaken local industries.
So which commodities were you proposing that the 50% benchmark value should be scrapped, and those that were
well, the number of them. I mean, if you take rice, it's one of them. If you take oil, you have one company whose capacity, if it's in full production, can supply the whole country. Just one company. So we cannot say we don't have local capacity. So the oil, for example, is another example. If you take cable, our 3 cable manufacturing companies, they produce the best of cables. They are all high-certified. The ones we import are not even of similar quality. And Ghana Standards Authority recently conducted a study on it. Clearly, local manufacturers were much better. If you take the beverage industry, I'm surprised that some people are saying, oh, even beverage. We have Coca-Cola here. We have Pepsi-Cola. We have Casa Preco. We have all these companies producing beverages. We are not saying ban the importation of beverages. We are only saying that the duty that pertains for the entire West Africa, let's also go by it. Let them pay the right duty. If you pay the right duty, come and compete fairly. But you don't reduce the import duty on it and make it much cheaper and expect that the local companies will be able to match up. Meanwhile, they keep talking about the challenges you focus on. That the cost of electricity is high, the cost of capital is high, and that's why India is not competitive. Yes, they are right. The cost of electricity is high, cost of capital is high, and it is this very factor that is making us weak. So and you also further reduce the import duty. And what are you saying? Then you are even weakening us a lot more. So the fact that we have other challenges does not mean that benchmark values should not be reviewed, because the problem area is those areas we should talk about it. If it is that easy, I'm sure most of them would have gone into manufacturing instead of being trading. So please, it's not a question of manufacturers against traders. The traders are our people. Our manufacturers are work through the traders. So all the traders in the Mokola market, in the Boboloshi, everywhere, they are selling made in Ghana products. For them, it's accessibility. Whatever they get access to, once they have margins on it, they will sell. So it's not the fight against traders. Traders are indeed supporting what we are doing. Traders believe that their children must go to school. Their children must have after they come out of school. So if they can sell made in Ghana products and that will propel local industry to employ their children, we'll be happy with it.
All right.
Please, let's get it in the proper context.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Setakwabwe, CEO of AGI, for your time. I think the discussion is still going on. God willing, Wednesday we'll come back to you and to seek your views about the budget when it is read. Thank you for your time. My name is Edward Nyako. God willing, we'll come again tomorrow. Shalom.